These kids went to excursion a day in the fields. They went with a group, a religious group. They went to the camp to have a nice day. And when they were coming back, they decided that the guide didn't know the terrain, and they thought they knew the terrain. They said, we can go faster if we go alone. And they took a different route. But this place is full of serpents, diamondbacks. I mean, full of serpents. Hundreds, huge, dangerous serpents. And they were there surrounded by serpents, and they decided to go in a tree, up in the tree. And when they were there, they saw, what is that? Oh, they saw a UFO. One of them was a controller. He was 21 or 22, and he was an air traffic controller. And he said, wow, that's not an airplane, not an helicopter, this is an airplane. And then they look 2, 3, they look a formation all around the tree, and they were completely, upset. They didn't know what to do, but they decided to stay because they were so afraid of the serpents in the ground. 2 hours later, the UFOs disappeared, and then they saw lights coming. Hey, we are here. Come on, we're here. They are coming to help us. We have to call them. Come. And these lights went off. Did you see them? Yeah, I saw them. What do you think? I don't know. They were coming to help us. I don't know. And suddenly, all of them, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Yes, I am. Hundreds of little creatures around the tree. And I mean, hundreds of them. One of them tall, others small, some invisible, some phosphorescent or fluorescent. They came to the tree. They went up to the tree. They looked to them like this. They went above them. They climbed to the top of the tree. A UFO came, and they went up and down to the UFO, and they were very much afraid. And the big one, the older one, said, they are friends. Don't worry. They won't hurt us. They are friends. Because one of the kids was just 13 years old, Salvador Villanueva. Lamoni was 16, and he was some like 22, 21, Raul Fabricio. And they stayed there. One of them fall from the tree because they were sleepy, but they gave him a belt. He took the belt and went up like this, because they were really, really scared of what was happening. Around 5 o'clock in the morning, the creatures disappeared. And then they decided to come down from the tree, and they took the road, and they found their families going out. And then we made a regression, a hypnotic regression to the kids. And you know what impressed me? When they remember his lips, like very dry, suddenly dry. Remembering, exactly, it was a physical reaction. You cannot reproduce or hoax this.
There's a series of events and evidences that make us think that at the northern frontier of Mexico, for some strange reason we are still trying to decipher, some cases have occurred regarding beings from another world, and their crafts flying above, having been seen in close proximity by many people in this inhospitable and dangerous area. This has led us to know different cases and do follow-ups. However, the case that has caught our attention the most was this case about 3 young men that were lost in the Aedo Guadalajara dos Desert, very close to the Tecate community in northern Baja California, an area known as La Rumorosa. a fantastic and mysterious adventure that made us go to the limit, an experience that got us closer to the unknown. Everything started in the hottest month in 1997. And they came even shaking. And I asked them, "Why are you shaking?" And they said they were scared. They had seen aliens, that some small figures walking around, and that they were hiding up a tree. A story that should shock us from beginning to end. The night was May 18th, 1997. Three young friends, Raul Fabrizio Garcia, Lamoni Gonzalez, and Salvador Villanueva, decided to go on an excursion to a place known as the Cascade, an oasis in the middle of the Rocky Hills, 50 kilometers away. A place of beauty, flora, fauna, desert snakes, and big rocks. A place of unparalleled beauty but full of danger. These young men couldn't find the group that they went there searching for, therefore they chose a trail that they thought would take them back home. However, things got worse. They got lost, and then they encountered several rattlesnakes which are common in the area. As a result, they were forced to go up a tree, in which they found refuge and decided to spend the night there. The next morning they would try and find the original trail. However, their adventure was just starting. We were very tired. We couldn't go up that hill, so we decided to stay on it. I call it a hill because it wasn't a mountain, but it was a very rocky hill. So we asked ourselves, should we sleep on the ground or up in the tree? And we decided that it was safer to sleep in a tree in case there were wildcats or any other wild animals near the area that could harm us. We felt safer being up that tree. We were up the tree talking, and then Fabrizio was looking up in the sky, and he asked, "What is that?" So I looked up, and we saw a spaceship. It was moving. It was a spaceship. Was it round? Yes, it was round. Had the form of a disc with 3 small windows. I say they were windows, or at least that's what it looked like. There were 3 squares that flashed different lights, purple, orange, and some greenish color. I could see it from a distance, and I could definitely see movement that it was doing in front of the hill on the top. I could see it from a distance, but I could definitely see movement that it was doing in front of the hill on the top. I started seeing lights. What did you see? I was looking towards the hill and started wondering what those lights were. I thought the group came looking for us, so I started yelling, "We're here!" But no one answered. We were sleeping on the tree, and beings started to surround the tree. So I said, let them do what they came to do. We shouldn't bother them. We don't know what their intention is, and what could happen for us just being there. So I said, shut up. No one talks. No one say anything. Everything was going good. Then we saw there were a lot of them. They looked like scattered, but in small groups, like 3 or 4 per group. There was like 20, 50 meters away surrounding the tree. We kept looking for them and saw they were even behind us. If it is true that the presence of these small beings was already an unusual event, they were practically everywhere surrounding the tree where the young men were hiding. But curiously, when they looked up, they would see many UFOs with the form of a disc in which they were floating in the sky, creating what seemed like a geometric shape in the air just above the tree where they were. We looked up, and we saw many UFOs, and they were floating, making geometric shapes. The one figure I can't forget was when they formed a triangle. A perfect triangle. One UFO here, one UFO there, and above that one, they formed a bigger triangle. And they even made squares. There were so many they looked like a fleet. And they weren't so high because an airplane passed by around 11:30 or 12. And that plane passed way above them. Now, I'm talking about the UFOs that made the geometric figures. They were at a distance. Other ones were closely near the top of the tree. And that spaceship was the size of a car, not that big. It was rounded and it had windows. What seemed strange to me was that the tree measured about 30 feet. Right? No. Feet. Meters, like 8 meters high. We were there. The tree was 15 meters. I could see the spaceship sending signals like lights. And well, like a flash from a camera, and then the leaves would be moving, and the aliens would be going up. And the door would open for them to get in, and others would come down, like going in and out. I think they were taking stones, or whatever they were looking for, and they would take it to the spaceship. According to the testimony of these young men, the beings didn't only take objects from that place, but also the beings were very aware of the presence of these three young fellows through a device that seemed to look carefully at them. Then, at the precise moment, these small humanoids started getting closer to the tree, starting a third type of contact.
You know, fortunately, I went to investigate. I almost stepped on a serpent, by the way, because it's true, it's full of serpents. I almost died there. The temperatures are really, really high. There is no water around. It's a very difficult place. Believe me, it's a very rough terrain. And that night, when we were there with them, they called me 2 o'clock in the morning. This is May 27th, 1999, 2:05 in the morning, and they said, "What is that?" Then I saw a little creature, phosphorescent, very bright eyes, going around. It was small, and then they said, "There." And a second one was coming in the middle of the rocks. I took my cameras, I tried to record. I took some photographic equipment and took photographs. Nothing came out, unfortunately for me, but I saw them.
And you looked through binoculars?
I looked through binoculars. What I saw, the eyes were incredibly bright. It was phosphorescent, green phosphorescent, fluorescent. It's something that I cannot prove because I saw it. We were 6 people, and all of us saw this. One of them was a guide who all the time was making jokes to us. You know, the extraterrestrials are coming, they're going to pick you, and so on, stupid things. At that time, I looked for him to ask him what it was, and he was inside his sleeping bag, covered to his face. Next morning, I asked him, "What did we see?" And he said, "I don't know, that's a revelation from God." And I said, No, it was a lion. No, it's not a lion. Okay, it was a deer. No, it's not a deer. It's a revelation from God, and I don't do anything about that.
So what was the shape of the creature?
All I saw, they were like 70, 100 meters away from us. This is a big cliff, impossible to go down. They were thin, they were big head, and phosphorescent to the feet. It's all I can tell you. And the eyes were so bright. I compared the eyes like Venus, when Venus is very, very bright. It's something like that.
Were they a certain shape or just sort of circular?
Yeah, no, the light, you just saw 2 lights, two very bright eyes there. And this happened 2 years after they had the experience. And it's very possible that they were the same kind of creatures. Everybody remembers. Carlos Clemente remembers. You can ask him if, I don't know if he told you about it. And it's real. It's all I can tell you. It's an incredible case.
Pues fuimos a investigar el caso de
So we went to investigate the case of Lamoni, Raul, and Salvador. It was 2:05 in the morning when we started seeing a luminous light in the ravine. One was standing, and another luminous being was behind a rock. It was moving. You could see the fluorescent luminosity. When Jaime started seeing with the binoculars, he said he could see the eyes. I was seeing it like a candle. Then he taps my shoulder and gives me the binoculars. And I start seeing pretty well. The bushes, the rocks. It had good focus. And then I saw that it was something fluorescent long. And on the top, I saw two red lights, like if there were eyes. And at that point, I could see the being moving, and it was alive. I got afraid. I stood backwards and I started to film with two cameras that I had brought with me. But we weren't nearby the beings, therefore the cameras couldn't record it. In order for me to record it, I would have had to turn on a light. But I was afraid that they would see us, so I didn't do it. After 5 minutes, one of the luminous beings got lost behind a rock, and then the other one started moving behind the bushes. And Lamoni and I got close to the ravine. We couldn't go any further, and we saw it with the binoculars until it got lost. It was around 10 minutes that we were seeing these beings. It was something very stunning, very interesting, because it was in a place where they told us these things happen. And in that early moment, we had a chance to see it too.
Well, okay, when we were going out, we had to go through a soldier checkpoint. It's a checkpoint for drugs. It's very close to the border, and in Mexico, all around the border, there are always checkpoints to stop drug dealers from going to the U.S. And when we told them what we were doing there, one of them called me and told me that this was true, that this has happened to them. They have seen the creatures, they had seen the UFOs, and this was very constant. But he couldn't say that openly or to anybody because he was military. It's all I can tell you.